Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us on H360 Live. My name is Dave Duplay, and I'm here joined in the studio with my colleague Cortland Long from Healthy0360. And in about 10 minutes, we're going to be also joined by Stephanie Ledger of the American Cancer Society, and we're going to be talking with Stephanie this afternoon about Relay for Life. We have a very exciting show for you today. We have a couple of health tips for you and an interesting article. So let's jump right in, Cortland. Have you ever noticed that some people have just the greatest attitude? You know, they're those people that are the friends of ours that they could be at lunch and they spill coffee all over their white shirt, and yet they've got a smile on their face and they're just happy. They go to a morning meeting and they have this big faux pas, and at lunch it's all over, they've forgotten about it. Well, those people have some characteristics, I think, that kind of naturally make them that way. And we've read this interesting study that's recently been done about those types of people. And so, Cortland, can you share with us what that study told us?
I can. So a lot of these people engage in behaviors that reinforce a positive frame of mind. And there are about 8 behaviors that help one maintain a positive frame of mind. And the first one is engaging in calming rituals. So things like exercise and meditation, they help one to, stay calm and maintain a positive state, and they also deal with anxiety in a healthy way in that sense.
You know, I have a calming ritual.
What's that?
Yeah, walking.
That's great.
I walk home every night from work. I have about a 30-minute walk, and it is so calming. I leave the office, and I'm still thinking about work and what I need to do the next day, and that 30-minute walk really calms me down, and I get back to my apartment, and I think it just opens up the evening for a better evening.
It certainly does. Walking is a great form of exercise that many people can do. And the second habit is tapping into positivity during challenging times. And this helps maintain an optimistic mindset and can lead to greater well-being. Positive emotions help broaden one's way of thinking as well. The third is embracing the negative. So much about being positive is also embracing the negative parts and kind of letting it roll off your shoulders. No one is immune to the tough times, and so embracing those with a "this too shall pass" type of attitude is very helpful in dealing with them.
Yeah, I think that one's really important, right? Life isn't always a bowl of cherries, so you're going to have those speed bumps, and the sooner you can embrace them, I think the sooner you can move on.
Exactly, and moving on also is important for the next tip, which is they don't bully themselves. So, we often are our own worst critics. However, people with such a positive mindset, they accept themselves for exactly who they are. They don't beat themselves up for making a mistake or anything like that.
Yeah, that is a good one. I tend to beat myself up a little bit, especially when we're doing the show, right? And I tend to get a little tongue-tied sometimes, and I wish I watch it and I say, boy, if I could have that split second over again. And so I think that's a very important one, not to bully yourself.
That is a very important one. And the next one also is equally important, which is ridding themselves of toxic relationships. So you are also a reflection of the people you surround yourself with. Much like you are what you eat, you kind of are also who you are with. And so things like happiness and stress can be very contagious attitudes. And when you surround yourself with happy people, you too will embrace that happiness.
Well, who wants to hang around a bunch of Debbie Downers, right?
That's true.
I mean, it just brings you down.
Mm-hmm.
It dampens your mood. I'd rather be around the cheery person that, the glass is always more than half full and running over. That's the kind of friends I want to hang out with.
Yeah, and the people who are glasses half full, they also celebrate little victories. So treating all of the little victories and successes with gratitude provides you with more opportunities to lead a happy life. So when you celebrate making it to the subway before the train leaves the platform, that's another opportunity to keep a positive mindset.
I think that's so true, because sometimes the big victories are few and far between. So if you're waiting to celebrate for a big one, you might be waiting a long time. And so I think taking the opportunity to celebrate the little victories, and I had a good friend, he's since passed away, and he always used to say, He looked for meaning, beauty, and joy in every day. And he celebrated those little victories. And so I learned an awful lot from that, and I think about that every day.
That's great. And sort of the opposite of that as well is that people with such a positive frame of mind, they don't let optimism hinder their goals. Oftentimes, a lot of people can get stuck in a fairy tale mindset, and they get upset if something doesn't go exactly according to plan. But, you know, everyone experiences setbacks, and as long as you kind of recognize those speed bumps and deal with ways, or figure out ways to deal with those, you'll still maintain a positive frame of mind.
Yeah, that's so true. You know, my favorite actor, Clint Eastwood, said a man's got to know his limitations, right? And so that's so true. You can't let your optimism overshadow reality. And so setting the appropriate goals, whether they're professional goals or personal goals in your life, I think is critically important.
And along with setting those goals comes our last tip, which is planning ahead. So people who are continually positive or have a great outlook, they feel like they're usually in control of their situations or their relationships. So they'll have a plan A and a plan B and a plan C. You know, they'll take that step even further just to make sure that they can be in control and make sure that things go according to plan.
Yeah, I think that's important too. Truth be told, I probably have plan A and I probably have plan A plus. I wouldn't necessarily say I have plan B and plan C ready to go in the bag, but I'm very passionate about what I do, and so I'm very laser focused on plan A. And like I say, I plan for the little speed bumps I'm going to encounter along the way, and I've got that plan A plus ready to go, and hopefully I don't have to use it too many times.
Yeah. Well, you are a very positive and optimistic person, so
Well,
you do seem to take a lot of these tips in stride. Yeah. And along with planning ahead, I believe that sort of helps us to lose weight. And Dave, I understand you have some bad habits that hinder us from losing weight.
Yeah, we call these weight loss destroyers, and there are these things that you're doing that you may not even know you're doing, right? And so I'm going to go through these. There's a couple of them, and you know they're almost counterintuitive from what we learned as a child. But you know, the first weight loss destroyer is eating too quickly, right? Eating is not a race. And I love this whole new term that people calling themselves foodies. And I'm not really sure I know what that means, but they seem to be people that really enjoy their meal and they take time to enjoy the experience of having their meal. So weight loss destroyer number one, again, was never eat too quickly. Slow it down. It's not a race. It's not who can get to the Clean Plate Club the fastest. So I think that's a good one.
That is a really good tip. I was always the last kid to leave the dinner table growing up, when it was a little frustrating because I wanted to go and play with my siblings, you know. And then also it's difficult when you have the sports event that you need to get to, you have practice or something, but it's important to take your time.
Yeah. I know you're wondering what weight loss destroyer number two is.
Yes.
Right, so I'm going to tell you. It's always finishing all foods on your plate. And despite what Mom always said, finish everything on your plate and belong to the Clean Plate Club. Mom, I hate to tell you, if you're watching, might not have been the best thing. So you don't always have to finish everything on your plate. If you're feeling full, stop eating. Now, I'm not here advocating wasting food. We could always put a piece of saran wrap over it, or this new, invention called Tupperware, right? We can put it in the Tupperware, put it in the refrigerator and have it at a later time. But if you're full, you don't have to finish everything on your plate, and don't feel like you have to belong to the Clean Plate Club. See, I wish I had that one over. Club every week. That's not the case. Were you always, as a child, a member of the Clean Plate Club?
Oh gosh, no.
No?
I can remember so many
times. You ate slowly, but you
Yeah.
left a lot on your plate.
Yeah, I was also a very picky eater.
Oh.
So I was probably never a part of the Clean Plate Club.
Got it. Well, weight loss destroyer number three is eating when you're not hungry. We've kind of trained ourselves in society. We get up, early, 8 o'clock-ish, 7 o'clock-ish, breakfast time. We're eating. 12 noon, lunchtime, we're eating. We may have a snack in between breakfast and lunch, and then we snack between lunch and dinner. And then around the 6 or 7 o'clock hour is dinner time, and we're, again, eating. So if you're not hungry, don't eat. It's very simple. What I try to do is I do try to have something around the apartment or in the office that I can snack on, just so I don't get so hungry that I go out and then I overeat. And so eating when you're not hungry is definitely one of these things that's a weight loss destroyer, and it's affecting your weight loss. You probably don't even know it. We have just two more.
Okay.
We'll run through them very quickly. The next one is eating dessert with most meals. Now, fortunately for me, I'm not a big dessert eater, and so I can go and eat a meal and I don't feel like I have to have dessert. Many of my friends are just the opposite. They're going to have a meal and by gosh, they're going to have dessert, and that's just the way they are. But don't feel like you have to eat dessert with every meal. Now and then I'll have dessert. Most of the time I'll have a coffee. I'll call that dessert, but I won't have that chocolate cake or, and if I do have dessert, more times than not, it's fresh fruit, which is very healthy for you.
That's
right?
great, yeah.
And then the last one is skipping breakfast or other meals. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day, at least that's what they say, and it gets you off on the right foot. So don't skip breakfast, and in fact, don't skip any meal. Don't eat when you're not hungry, right? We're not saying that, but don't skip a meal. Try to eat at least 3 square meals a day at some point, and then moderately snack. And I think if you follow those simple rules, it's going to help you with your weight loss program. Mm-hmm. Does that sound good?
That sounds good. And you actually have a very healthy breakfast most mornings when I see you in the office.
I do. I try to have fruit for breakfast and a coffee, yeah. Or orange juice is always nice.
That is good.
Okay, so let's move on. We're going to now have in the studio Stephanie Ledger. Stephanie is with the American Cancer Society, and she is working on the Relay for Life. And Stephanie, you are one busy lady. We are in the midst of things, and the Relay for Life is coming up. We've got the event coming on Friday.
Oh, yes.
Right? And so you've been very, very busy. Can you tell us a little bit about Relay for Life? How did it get started, and what exactly is Relay for Life?
So Relay for Life is actually a fundraiser event. It's volunteer-driven, community-based, and it's to raise money to improve quality of life for cancer patients as well as their caregivers. So it could be with preventative and support treatments, assistance, and those types of programs. Relay for Life actually started in 1985. A gentleman by the name of Dr. Gordy Klatt wanted to fundraise and raise money for the American Cancer Society. He was an avid marathon runner, so he decided for his fundraising event he wanted to be able to go around the track and have his friends donate money to be able to go around the track with him. And actually on that night, they ended up raising over $27,000. And from there, it just grew.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah. And so it grew, but how many events are going to happen this year, for example?
So this year in the United States, we're going to have over 5,000 events in the communities with over 4 million participants.
Wow, that is really something. I want to just let everyone know that, if you can't make an event close to you, there are some ways that you can stay apprised of what's going on at the event. So if you text on your cell phone or your smartphone, text the numbers 10034 and text those numbers to 22723. You'll receive event information as it's going on. So and not only as the event is going on, actually you'll receive text all year round about things that are happening with the American Cancer Society and Relay for Life. But it is a good way if you can't be at an event to get text, and you can see what's going on as the event is unfolding.
Exactly. Right? You can still be part of the event without physically being there.
Yeah. So I'm curious, again, so it's an overnighter, and we go to a lot of fundraisers and a lot of walks most every weekend, and this is the big season, right? The weather is finally starting to break here in the Northeast. And yours is an overnighter. I believe it kicks off at 5 p.m. and it runs all the way through the next morning to 5 a.m.
That's correct. And so we decided that for this event, with the Relay for Life of how most of the community events are being overnight, it's because cancer never sleeps. So why should we? So we continue the fights from dusk to dawn.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah.
How many teams are going to be joining this Friday?
So this Friday, we're expecting to have over 50 teams, also to over 400 participants, with many different community companies being involved, such as the FDNY, AOL, and Boots.
So the fire department is going to be there?
Yes.
They're a sponsor?
Yes, they are.
And what are they going to be doing?
So they have many activities planned during our event. They're bringing out their fire trucks, so there's definitely photo ops, commemorative the 150-year anniversary. Also, too, they'll have you can wear your hats in different events, but also, coming out to show their support for their colleagues, in the fire department, also that are fighting the fight.
Now I have to ask if I am going to attend the event.
Yes.
And I've always wanted to be a firefighter. Ever since I was just, every Halloween I was, that was my costume, and I ran around. It never happened, unfortunately. But do you think they'll let me ring the bell and blow the siren?
I'm sure we can probably make that dream come true.
All right. So, again, I want everyone to text. Write those numbers, 10034. Text those on your smartphone to the numbers 22723. And you may even get a photo of me ringing the bell on the fire truck. That would be
With
fantastic.
your fire hat?
Yeah, that goes without saying.
Yeah.
I may even try to find one of mine for when I probably have it somewhere. When I was a little boy, I'll break that out and have that at the Relay for Life walk.
That would be
Perfect.
awesome.
So let's get back to the walk. You said, how many teams do you anticipate?
Over
Friday?
50.
Over 50 teams.
With 400 participants.
Wow.
So a nice large crowd.
Yeah, incredible. I know the teams come up with a creative name.
Yes.
And you have a team, right?
I do.
You have a team this year?
Yes.
What's the name of your team?
So my team is called Helping Hands.
And why is that?
Well, because, with your hands, you're always helping people out, and maybe just holding their hand while they may be getting the news, or maybe you're using your hand to write a personalized letter to show your support for someone. Also, for some of the other creative names we have is called the Curables. Yes, we also have that one. And then also we have Cray Cray for Relay, making sure that we're in tune. And then Relay Hate Cancer. So it's all play on words with our teams, which is great.
Very creative.
That's very
We should have a team.
We should. How do we create a team?
Yeah.
So to create a team, you can actually go onto our website, being able to start your team. But we're also going to be accepting teams to be informed on the day of event at the event. It's actually no registration this year for the community events, which is great. So you can just come on in, form your team, and then or sign up just to register, even if it's just you coming in alone. And then you can be part of our festivities and get your picture with the fire truck as well.
Cool. So the money raised for this walk, where will that money go? What's the money ear tag for?
So the money that's raised with the Relay for Life, it spreads out to all different kinds of areas, but a few areas to being able to highlight is preventative programs and research. Also, too, there's the Hope Lodge, which is where patients and their families can be able to stay while the patient is going through treatment. Also, too, it goes towards transportation of making sure that patients can get to their treatments and being able to get their treatment.
Oh, that's great. Now, what are some of the other things that go on during the year? I know this Friday
Yes.
is the walk, but there's things that go on year-round, right? And so what are some of those things?
So we definitely making sure that we're staying in our community and reaching out to all different ages. So we do have one that is coming up, the Bachelor and Bachelorette auction that will be happening next month. So that will be someone that is putting on the event, and then they'll be having all of that money go on to donated to the American Cancer Society. But as you can see, that even though we have our event and our walk, we're still continuing to put fundraisers throughout the year. So we've also done dinners in the Harlem community, and then also to just different events with music and dancing and things like that.
So let's take a step back. The Bachelor and Bachelorette auction.
That's correct.
What happens there?
So we have 25 of the New York City finest that you can be able to auction off to go out on a date with.
No way.
Yes.
Now, how are the finest selected?
So they do put in a kind of just writing about themselves, fill out a brief survey, and then from there they are selected as well. But it's a great event, you know, of just kind of bringing your friends along, and then also too of meeting other people and knowing about upcoming events too that we'll have going on.
Cool.
That's
That's
cool.
very good.
Yeah. I'd like to take it a step back further even and get back to the walk on Friday. There's, I understand, a few different events that happen at the walk. There's a survivor's lap. There are luminaries. Can you tell us a little bit about some of those things?
Yeah, absolutely. So we do have different ceremonies that happen throughout our event. So we'll start off with our opening, our kickoff, and then we'll go right into our survivor and caregiver lap. So we'll have our survivors walking around the lap, so we can definitely show our appreciation and you know, that they have won their fight, and that many of them have been going on for 10, 20 years on how many years they've been celebrating cancer-free. But we also want to make sure that we highlight the caregivers. You know, they're the ones that have been there with the survivors going through to the treatments and to the different aspects of the person that had been going through the treatment. So we make sure we highlight that. And then we'll also have our luminaria ceremony happening as well.
Oh, that's wonderful.
You know, the caregivers are really, they have a tough job.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Right? Making sure that the patient is getting to appointments on time and everything is still being handled, and then dealing with all the paperwork and the medical bills and just everything. The caregivers, if there's somebody that needs to be recognized, it's the caregiver. And caregivers tend to burn out pretty quick because they're so busy caregiving that they just don't take care of themselves. They're really neglecting their personal health in many cases to care for somebody, a loved one that's battling cancer.
Exactly, and that's why we want to be able to show our support for them as well.
Yeah. So if I can't make it to the walk, what can I do remotely? Are there ways I can get involved or ways that I can donate if I don't know a team, I don't know anybody walking, but for those people that are watching this broadcast and that want to contribute, how would one get involved?
So there's a few different options. So one, you can be able to just volunteer with our committee towards planning an upcoming event or reaching out to different businesses asking for donations, donating yourself if you would like to. But you know, the main thing is just being involved in that text message to know the upcoming events. So then if something does come of interest and you know that you would be available, then you can definitely then reach out to us to let us know, and then we'll make sure that you know, your work is appreciated and can be go a long way.
Yeah. So once again, that text these numbers 10034 on your smartphone or mobile phone, and text those to 22723, and you'll be able to stay up to date on the event. If you're also on Twitter, it's hashtag Manhattan Relay, and you can tweet out. If you're at the walk, we'd love to hear from you. So again, that's hashtag Manhattan Relay. You're also on Facebook,
Yep.
right? So Facebook.com/Manhattan Relay. And Instagram is Manhattan Relay as well. And then your website, for those that want to donate or find out a little more information, can go to relayforlife.org/ManhattanNY, and that'll get you to the website, and you can find out all information there.
Exactly.
Well, we are really looking forward to being there Friday.
Perfect. We
And
can't
we're
wait
gonna
to
be
have
walking.
you guys.
We'll be there taking pictures and making some videos, and we're there to support a really, really great cause.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Well, that's our show for this week. I'd like to thank our guest Stephanie Ledger for coming into the studio today and telling us all about Relay for Life. I'd like to thank the viewership at home for joining us. And last but not least, I'd like to thank our sponsors for making this all possible. Remember, all of our episodes can be found on demand at healthyo360.com. Healthyo360 can also be found on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Pinterest. And please don't forget to use the hashtag RealStories when posting. So on behalf of Cortland Long and everyone here at Healthyo360, we hope you have a pleasant afternoon, and we look forward to seeing you again next week.
The views and opinions expressed in this broadcast are those solely of the Healthyo360 hosts and our guests for this broadcast. These views and opinions do not in any way reflect the views and opinions of our sponsors, advertisers, or other organizations on Healthyo360, including our community members.